Tonight, events in Tigertown and further developments in international affairs. All that and more, this is Clemson News Now. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jackson Cash.
And I'm Kate Taylor. The month of April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, a month to bring communities together in support of children's safety, well-being, and development. Across South Carolina, organizations are using this month to remind everyone that protecting children is a shared responsibility.
The Children's Trust of South Carolina is leading statewide efforts to educate families, raise awareness, and strengthen resources that help prevent child abuse and neglect before they happen. Their training programs, community outreach, and partnerships with local agencies. The Trust works to ensure every child has the opportunity to grow in a safe environment.
This month, you'll notice blue pinwheels appearing in schools, yards, and parks all across the state. The pinwheel is a national symbol of hope, with people being encouraged to take part in local events, where to show support and learn more about how they can make a difference in a child's life.
April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. When families are strong, children are safe, and families are strongest when embraced by their communities. Businesses, child care providers, public safety agencies, medical professionals, schools, and our neighbors can use their strengths and resources to engage families in their communities. Be part of the community that supports making children and their families stronger and safer. We call this being a champion for children. Visit scchildren.org today to discover how child abuse prevention can build a better tomorrow.
The Children's Trust of South Carolina reminds everyone that prevention happens in partnership. By volunteering, spreading the word, or simply checking in on a family in need, each action contributes to a safer future for children. To find more information, visit scchildren.org.
Looking internationally, the Strait of Hormuz remains unclear, with President Donald Trump saying Monday that he was under no pressure whatsoever to make a deal with Iran after they said that they had no plans to attend peace talks with the United States in Pakistan, and a ceasefire set to expire on Wednesday.
Over the weekend, ship traffic in the strait increased briefly, with at least 20 ships being transited on Saturday, but slowed down after attacks on ships seemed to prove that the security situation remains dangerous. United States forces fired at and took control of an Iranian vessel after refusing to lift the blockade of Iran's ports. This comes after Tehran's refusal to accept diplomacy and the deeming of the blockade as an act of piracy in violation of the ceasefire agreement.
While the exact future of the Strait of Hormuz is uncertain, it will likely never fully go back to normal. Experts say that the industry will not be able to count on it in the same way they did before the war began, and we are already seeing evidence of this. Surrounding countries are exploring alternative infrastructure, sources of oil and gas, turning to coal and rerouting their goods away from the strait through other pipelines. We've seen an increase in barrels of oil shipped through these alternative pipelines from 4 million per day to 7 million since the war began.
Turning to the entertainment world, singer David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, was charged with first-degree murder in the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her decomposed remains were discovered last September in the trunk of the 21-year-old artist Tesla at an impound lot in Hollywood.
Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hodgman announced the charges at a news conference, calling it every parent's nightmare, saying, "I am a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back."
Prosecutors are seeking special enhancements to the murder charge, including lying in wait, financial gain, and murdering a witness. Burke is also charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child and mutilation of human remains. If convicted, Burke could face life in prison without parole or even the death penalty. A decision on seeking capital punishment will come later.
In court a few days ago, the singer wearing a black hoodie stood stone-faced behind glass and pleaded not guilty. He remains held without bail. His attorneys say that they will vigorously defend him, stating the evidence will prove he did not cause Celeste's death. The case has been complicated with degraded evidence and a flood of false information online. Burke was on tour when the remains were discovered and canceled his remaining shows. A preliminary hearing is set for today.
Finals week is upon us, but so is tournament season. Reporter Gatsby Good has all you need to know in Clemson athletics. Gatsby, what do you have for us?
Thanks, Jackson. As the semester winds down, the action does too. So we'll get you set for some tournament action and introduce you to some new Tigers. First, women's lacrosse is headed to the semifinals of the ACC tournament after a tight 12-9 victory against Notre Dame. After the first half saw a 5-5 tie, it was a 5-0 run to open the third quarter that put the Tigers in front. 5 unique goal scorers were used to push the lead to the largest of the game, and it was enough to send them to the semifinals. Brooke Goldstein led the way with 4 goals on the night as the Tigers now look ahead to clash with the number 2 seed in the Stanford Cardinal. In a rematch of what was a 1-goal loss 10-9 earlier this season, first draw is tomorrow night at 8. Clemson softball is sitting pretty right now in the midst of a 4-game win streak and coming off of a huge series sweep against Virginia. The Cavaliers proved to be no match for the Tigers as they were run-ruled in Game 1 12-4. Game 2 saw them fall 3-1, and the sweep was completed with a 6-1 Tiger victory. Now, the Tigers get set to go on the road as the march toward the ACC tournament continues, and they take on the Duke Blue Devils in Durham this weekend. Baseball's ACC tailspin has yet to come to an end, and the Tigers are coming off of a close series loss, but a series loss nonetheless against Virginia in Charlottesville last weekend. With their NCAA tournament hopes in jeopardy, the Tigers have to start putting some quality wins together. Fortunately, their schedule allows them the chance to do so. With series against Louisville, Boston College, Florida State, and Virginia Tech, and a sprinkle in a midweek against Coastal Carolina, a lot of promising wins remain out there for the Tigers, if they can turn their season around and get hot at the right time. Finally, basketball season may have come to an end early in the NCAA tournament, but that just means the attention has shifted to the transfer portal's opening. The Tigers have been known to make moves in the portal, and everyone was curious to see who Brad Brownell could pull to Tiger Town. The Tigers' big pull was a guard from Notre Dame, Cole Serta. Serta spent 2 years with Notre Dame, and last season was his best, averaging 12.8 points per game with 37.4% field goal and a 36.7% three-point last season. Serta had 30-plus points multiple times in ACC play this season and will bring his explosive scoring to a team that desperately needs it. Other additions include Dylan Faulkner, an All-Southern Conference first-teamer from Samford, and Leutarius Levisius, a 6'7" guard from TCU, who's choosing to spend his last year of eligibility donning the Tiger Orange. One thing's for sure, these additions make for big-time excitement next winter. That's all I've got for this semester, but we'll have plenty more in August. Until then, back to you, Jackson.
Thanks, Gatsby. A PhD student at Clemson University is exploring the connection between Clemson University and D.W. Daniel High School through a new immersive sports exhibit at the Clemson Area African American Museum. The exhibit, titled Sincerely Daniel, was created by Jaquil Durham with the help of his childhood friend, DeAndrew Keesler Bruce, who are both native to the Clemson area.
Durham, a former multi-sport star at Daniel, was assigned a digitalization project and had the idea of sharing Javis Austin's story, a former Daniel running back and 2-year letterman who graduated from Clemson in 2003. Information for Durham's assignment ended up being hard to come by, he ended up creating an archive of material about black student athletes from Clemson. After completing his assignment, Durham said, "My classmates really loved it. I saw it could be powerful."
So Durham began a journey with the goal of creating a showcase of 50 years of athletic excellence at Daniel. The launch event for Sincerely Daniel was held on February 27th and welcomed a number of guests, including former President and First Lady of Clemson University, Jim and Marcia Barker. Keesler Bruce called the exhibit one of the best things we've seen in the upstate and said that everyone who comes in has an instant smile.
The exhibit opens with a main hallway covered in newspaper and media clippings. On the left is a room replicating Daniel's football field and includes a wax figure of Daniel Great, Clemson All-American, and 5-time NFL Pro Bowler DeAndre Hopkins. On the right is a room made to resemble Daniel's basketball gym. The room contains a number of jerseys, trophies, commemorative basketballs, and even a small jumbotron playing a highlight reel loop. Additionally, the exhibit features Daniel lockers with jerseys, photos, and Clemson uniforms on mannequins worn by Deshaun Williams and DJ Greenlee, who both graduated from both Daniel and Clemson.
The exhibit isn't finished yet, as Durham and Keesler Bruce have been getting calls from people wanting to contribute more memorabilia. Those wishing to see the exhibit for themselves can do so at the Clemson Area African American Museum on Butler Street.
Staying in the Clemson area, for the second year in a row, the Clemson University Fire Department will have a new fire truck on display at the Fire Department Instructors Conference in Indianapolis, which is a national conference where firefighters from all across the country gather to learn about the newest technology and products.
In 2025, Clemson's new Quint aerial fire truck, manufactured by Sutphen Corporation, was featured at the conference. This year, SVI trucks deemed Clemson Fire and EMS Department Heavy Rescue 1308, which they manufactured cool enough to bring the show. The truck is designed for extrications, special operations, dive rescues, and both low and high angle situations. You can learn more and check out pictures of the truck on SVI Trucks websites.
With finals week right around the corner, Libby Smith has the forecast for the last week of school. Libby, what do you have for us?
Well, Tigers, we're starting off with a beautiful Friday here in Tiger Town, serving up warm and mostly sunny skies with temperatures topping out around 84 and dropping into the upper 50s. Saturday, though, decides to shake things up as thunderstorms may roll through late in the afternoon. The good news? Temperatures will hold steady in the comfortable range between the high 50s and the high 70s. So even if the skies get dramatic, the thermometer won't. If you're hoping to salvage some sun this weekend, Sunday is your best bet as skies turn partly cloudy and temperatures will range from the upper 50s to the low 80s. Rolling into next week, we settle into a much more muted pattern. Most days will be cloudy, with Tuesday and Thursday bringing the best chance for showers. Even so, temperatures stay pretty consistent as the highs will be in the low 80s and the lows will be in the upper 50s. So it's more of a keep the umbrella in the backpack kind of week than a full-on washout. That's all I have for you this week. Back to you, Kate.
Thanks, Libby. Our final story comes from the tech world. In major business news, Apple's Tim Cook is stepping down as CEO after 15 years effective September 1st. He will stay on as executive chairman. Succeeding him is John Turnus, currently Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering. The 51-year-old has been with Apple since 2001 and played key roles in developing the iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, and AirPods.
Cook took over in 2011 following the death of Steve Jobs and turned Apple into a $4 trillion powerhouse. Under his leadership, annual revenue more than quadrupled. Cook said it has been the greatest privilege of his life to lead the company. Turnus called it an honor to step into the role, crediting both Jobs and Cook as mentors. He promised to lead the same values that have defined Apple for decades.
The smooth transition comes as the company continues to push boundaries in hardware, software, and emerging technologies. Well, Tigers, that wraps up our final episode of the year. Thanks for tuning in weekly with us. Nationally to locally, I'm Kate Taylor.
And I'm Jackson Cash. Clemson News Now.